Welcome to Stefan Speaks. So, over the next 100 days, I want to launch an AI project that's good for humanity and get it to 100,000 users. Now, I'm going to be sharing this project at each step of the way with you. How it was built, how it works, what the philosophy and the psychology is that underpin this project, how it's good for the individual and how it's good for their community and then the broader humanity, and then how we're marketing it and getting it to a place that has positive externalities. And now, this last point, perhaps the most important, and that is that right now there's a lot of negative sentiment, negative feeling about progress in technology. And part of it is very warranted. It seems that every time we make a few steps forward, there's a bunch of bad things that happen. And as a result, we can start to question what type of progress we're really making. Are we making any real progress? For example, I remember back in the day, when Facebook first launched, it was a great place to go and talk to friends and reconnect with people you haven't met in a long time, people that you've lost touch with. And then over the years, it morphed into this thing where now when I go on Facebook, which happens very rarely, I see people fighting with each other, see a lot of fake news. It seems like they're trying to trigger like either my curiosity or rage. And so I don't spend a lot of time there. But for the people that do spend a lot of time in Facebook, it has a lot of negative effects. For example, it's shown that Instagram triggers an enormous amount of jealousy. It leads to lower self-esteem and so on. And so part of all these technologies that were designed to connect us, in some sense, they've made us more lonely. So another example of negative knock-on effects is gasoline. So you've probably noticed at a gasoline that it says non-leaded gasoline. That's because once upon a time, it was leaded. And this leaded gasoline was really effective at stopping engine knocking. And this totally worked. It stopped the knocking. But then it had an awful side effect. And that was that it pushed a lot of lead out into the environment. People inhaled that lead. This lowered their IQ and made us about 4 times more aggressive. So after many decades of this and losing about 1 million IQ points collectively and becoming way more aggressive and violent, it was eventually outlawed and was made illegal. And so gasoline today no longer has lead as a result of this. And this is an example of how when we have goals in life, and it's a very simple linear goal like stop engine knocking, what might end up happening is that we might be really successful in achieving that goal, like leaded gasoline was. But then it might have a bunch of negative externalities. Until now, we can come back and we can ask the question, was this real progress? Did we actually improve and make life better for people? And in that case, we didn't. We actually made life worse. Now, the interesting thing is that a lot matters of when you ask the question, because if you asked the question just a few years after the launch of leaded gasoline, people would have overwhelmingly said yes. But after many years and decades of overwhelming evidence to the contrary, it became obvious that the opposite was the case. The thing with AI and technology, we don't have a lot of decades to look back and make sure that it worked well. What we need to do is we need to line up our goals in such a way on the front end so it's really difficult for them to have negative externalities. When we set that goal in the first place, we want to make sure that we are considering how it's affecting the rest of the environment, and then mapping out the possibility whether it's going to have more negative externalities or more positive externalities. And so this is why this project is so important. When it comes to goals, this is the essence of the application that I built. And this is how it works, is that what it does is it takes the individual and their goals, and it helps them gain insight and clarity how to achieve those goals and how to achieve those goals in a way that's mutually beneficial. And by mutually beneficial, we're looking for goals that have a triple win. They're good for the individual, they're good for their community, and they're good for the broader world and society. In order for a goal to be considered beneficial, it has to be good on all those 3 levels. In essence, this is what this application does, is it helps people become more aware of who they are, where they are, what goals they should be moving towards, how to move towards those goals, and how to choose goals that are going to have an outsized benefit for their entire community, themselves, and the broader world. Over the next 100 days, I'm going to go step by step on how this was built, what the underpinning philosophy and psychology is, and how it uses both philosophy, psychology in order to help individuals. And then I'm also going to share how we're getting users. And getting the users part, pretty important, because users provide feedback and we can get insight in how they're using the application and how they're applying these different things in their life. Now, in the next video, I'm going to share with you how we built the app. I have a bunch of resources for you on my Substack. It goes into how this thing's being built and it goes into a lot of detail. So all the resources are there for you. Additionally, if you have any interest in building AI agents that are good for humanity, maybe they're in the wellness space, maybe they're in mental health, maybe they're in spirituality or something adjacent, be sure to join my Substack. I have a bunch of resources there, and it's a good way for us to connect and also to create a broader community around this very important topic. And last but not least, make sure you like and subscribe so you get the next video. In the next video, I'm going to cover the product, what the product is, how we made it, and how we're getting our first set of users. So I'll see you in the next one.